Wednesday, May the 1st. Time to talk about a couple more NBA playoff games here on Fast Break Bets with Erik from eTop21 Sports. I'm Gino Bacola. And Erik, we had one of those shows yesterday that got lost in the wilderness. I will say, knock on wood, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. I hear people talk about that all the time on podcasts, how there was some audio. They did an interview. It got lost when they were doing this. I've never had that happen before where I set up our stream that we were recording. I think it just had to do with the fact that I was recording interviews all throughout the day and on it. So it just may not have gotten played, but you know what? That was our best show that we ever did, was the one that we did yesterday. I'll tell you that. You looked great. You sounded great. And it was just fantastic. Everybody would have been a millionaire if they would have heard that one, right?
I mean, looking at my thing, I did pretty good. What I had the Bucks.
Yep.
Points, money line. I had the Knicks points money line. I had the Cavs first quarter. The only bet I didn't get yesterday was Andre Jackson.
Right.
And Andre Jackson over 3.5 and Brunson under 34.5. Those are only two bets, but good day. Hopefully you continue to tomorrow.
So two more today. And your team was able to show up with a good effort. And it was nice. You got what is needed. When you make runs through the playoffs, sometimes you get the contributions from people that you're not expecting. It was Pat Bev yesterday who kind of sparked everyone because he has that sort of attitude. He can't do that game in, game out. He's just not good enough, like offensively. But in little spots, it's nice to have someone like that come in and you live to fight another day.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that stood out to me yesterday in terms of the games was, number one, Maxey and Middleton are playing at a very high level right now, and I really think Maxey's getting a lot of love, and rightfully so. They don't win that game without him. And Middleton is, he is playing great. I'm interested to see what Maxey's able to do that next game. They came in, they were able to get the game on the road. Now, how are they going to look in Philly, having to win that game? And look, I know people are going to give him a pass because of his leg injury, and that's fine. But some of those reads and those passes they were making, like, look, leg injury or not, those are just simple basketball passes across the court you with one hand that you should just not be making in those late in-game situations.
Because that's the problem, like you said it. If you're on the court, you have to be at a certain level, and they need and expect a certain level out of Embiid, because at this point of the year, almost everybody's hurt and banged up, right? Or sore. Like, most of these guys aren't 100% out there after a long season. So you got to suck it up. You see guys in every series that are out there. And I mean, if you're hurt and you can't play, then don't play. But if you're out there, you have to be able to focus. And when you're tired, when you're struggling, you just can't make those mistakes, especially when you are the guy on your team that everybody looks to. You carry a load like that. And when the rest of the team sees him, just visibly out of it, it happens like this with any team leaders. Sometimes LeBron, sometimes Luka, they do this, where they get into it with the refs too much instead of just like focusing in on your game. It'll flow back the other way. And I think plenty of times they're probably right at the things they're upset about. For him, the team looks to him and they take cues off him, even especially Maxey, even someone like Maxey. I love listening to his interviews and stuff. He's a great interview because he's one of the real NBA players that just like tells you how he feels. He tells you he's really honest. He's a great guy to listen to. And I like him a lot of the young, some of the young stars.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely impressed with what I saw with Maxey. Hurt or not, anyone who's played basketball knows in those situations, you don't attempt a one-handed pass to across the opposite side with 5 minutes left in the game, in a tight game. And he did it not once, but he did it twice. He made some just awful
everything at that
with the basketball
point of the game. Everything is magnified. You have to make the correct decisions. If you miss your shots, you miss your shots. You just can't make bad decisions. That's the difference. Erik, we have two games tonight to discuss. I know you have a couple plays in each. I have one play in each of the games. So why don't you start us off in our first game, which is the Miami Heat at the Boston Celtics. Now, Boston, for this particular series, should be fine. They're a 14-point favorite, and over under is 200.5. But Kristaps Porzingis got hurt in their most recent game, and I was reading that the injury is similar to the one that Giannis has right now. So we know that Giannis is someone who has always recovered very quickly from things, and we still haven't seen him out there. So to me, that means Porzingis we aren't going to see for a little while at least.
Yeah, we're not going to see him for a while, probably not until the conference finals. How I look at this game is, look, I did it. I played the Heat plus the 14, and I played on the money line plus 700. Heat are due for some positive shooting regression. 12th best three-point shooting team in the NBA. They're coming off a game where they shot 27% from three, so they're obviously due for some positive shot regression. Now let's just look at Spoelstra. Best coach in the last 20 years, ATS 57%. Off a loss, he's 65% ATS. Off of 2 losses, he's 59% ATS. So all the trends are saying to bet Spoelstra. Now we look at what Porzingis can do. Porzingis allows Porzingis makes the Heat have to play man. When Porzingis is not in there, they can totally play that little zone defense that was giving Philadelphia such a hard time, because Boston doesn't have that guy that they can float at the free throw line, a big that can consistently hit that shot. Also, what it does is when you look at Bam's stats head to head against Al Horford, he does insanely well.
That's my play.
Going to force
rebounding today.
This is going to force on the offensive side the Celtics to double Bam, thus leading to some more open looks from three, and they're due for some positive shot regression. Now you look at the pick and roll with Tatum, Brown, and Wright. Those pick and roll numbers are considerably down per possession when they do it with Horford versus Porzingis. I don't think the Heat are going to fear Horford. I think they're going to go heavy zone. I think they're going to force the Celtics to make threes. And now what have the Celtics have shown us? This is the stat that really blows my head off. Since 2021, in the playoff game, after winning by 10 points or more, they are 40% ATS. And of the last 12 games, they've lost 7 of those straight up. Look, and also one thing that I've said on the show in the playoffs, teams that win cover. So if you're going to bet a team at a dog, we did it last night with the Bucks, did it last night with the 76ers, we did it with the Clippers over the weekend. We're going to do it here at a bigger price. We're going to take the Heat plus the 14 and the Heat plus 700 on the money line.
Yep, I went Bam to get 12 rebounds. That's plus money, plus 115. Bam had 17 rebounds last game after Porzingis went out. Because what it does, you're talking about, it gives Bam the ability to play more traditional too. He doesn't have to stretch out as much. Horford is one that you're going to have a little more down low. I mean, Horford can still get out, but it's way different, and it's way less for Bam individually to have to worry about his own man, and he can play more of like a team defense like you were talking about, and he's going to be, I think, just much more impactful overall. I agree with you on playing on the big number. These two teams against each other the last couple of years, home court advantage has meant nothing. Also, nothing. They just go back and forth on the road. So, for the lines to float that much up from home to away, I do think you're going to get a better effort from the Heat. And Boston, again, even in that last game, there was nothing impressive about them except for White. White was incredible. Yeah. He kept them in the game. As you pointed out, Miami was getting open shots. Van Gundy kept mentioning it. They were just missing them. Good looks. It wasn't like Boston was playing incredible defense. They were just missing the wide open looks, and I think they'll get more of them, and a few more of them will fall now. It's almost like this situation where now you're down 3-1. There's nothing really else to worry about, but just kind of go out there and play loose on the road as a big dog. Miami's been kind of comfortable in this situation before. I think you'll get one more punch from them at least in a close game here before they go out. So I'm on Bam to get 12 rebounds plus 115. Anything else you want to talk about in this game, Erik?
Yeah, I did one more bet in this game. I did Derek White under 15.5 points. I've mentioned this all the time when I go on your stuff. Gambling's about buying low and selling high. Let's just look at White's point total. The first 3 games, his prop has been priced at 12.5 points. Now, coming off his career playoff high, it's been inflated to 15.5. So the market is obviously reacting. People are going to come in with the over. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to bet the under. He's only gone over this total 32 games this season. He shot 53% from three-point land on Monday. He's only a 39% three-point shooter for the year, at 36% three-point shooter for his career. I think he's going to be due for some negative shot regression. I'm taking White under the 15.5. Look, last night we had Brunson. Both of us did. Game went to overtime. Maxey hit that insane 3 to send it to overtime, and that's what cost us the bet.
Yep.
So, if this game gets tight, that's what's costing it. But I think this game's going to be played at the slow pace. Neither of these teams look to get out and run that much. So, I'll play Derek White under 15.5 points.
Let's look at tonight's first game of 2. Second game on the slate, Mavericks at the Clippers. It's been a weird series here. Like, I'm so surprised when teams come out flat in playoff games, and then it happened twice for the Mavericks this year in this series so far. How does that happen? I can understand a team getting beat by 20 or 30 at the end of the game, right? That happens. Teams get beat up. But to come out and to just visibly not be ready 2 out of the 4 times you've played, when you have one of the 5 to 10 best players on the planet on your roster, and a coach who, even if you don't like him as a coach or you don't think Kid is very good, as a player, he would have, that wasn't the way he was. He was a real gamer as a player, always. He would have been ready to rock and roll in the biggest moments, to hit big shots, to contribute. It's so strange to me that this team has showed up a couple times in this series like it was a random game in November. I mean,
a random Wednesday in Cleveland. I get exactly what you're saying.
It's like, how do you not have that intensity? I haven't noticed that from any of the other teams. I mean, you watch the Heat games, they're just outmanned sometimes, right? And you can sense it in some moments where it's like, gosh, the Heat just don't have anyone to go to right now. And they just have nowhere near the type of talent that they're lined up against with Boston. That's not the case with Dallas. And they're playing in games where Kawhi's either hurt or not himself at all. And they're still giving this lackluster effort so often. They're down 31, then they come all the way back. I just don't know exactly what to expect from this team. But the one thing I'm going to play, Eric, and I wouldn't be shocked if you're on this one too, because our old friend, I will give him all the credit in the world, Mr. James Harden, in the 4 games so far in this series, he's averaged 41 minutes a game. He's shooting 54% from the field and 50% from 3 on 8.5 attempts a game. So he's making more than 4 threes a game. He's shooting 91% from the free throw line. Harden's averaging 26 points and 7 assists. He's hit 21 points in all 4 games in the series. As I mentioned, his 3-point shooting has been incredible. He only has 1 game where he wasn't that great from 3. I just feel like there's got to be a bad Harden game coming somewhere. He has been notoriously one of the worst playoff players for a guy at his level. For someone who was a number 1 option, MVP, one of the best players in the league for years, he never really had the runs in the playoffs consistently. He would have a good game or 2, but we remember a lot more of the bad moments. This has been the best 4-game stretch that he's ever had in his career. Right now, you just feel like there's a little bit of regression coming. I do. So I went Harden under the 21.5 points.
I have 3 bets. Sorry, Jesus. I have 3 bets in this game. First bet, look, series is tied at 2-2. This is a swing game. Games 5, game 6, game 1. I always love playing the first half under. I play the under of 106.5. I think this game is going to be really tight. I expect the Mavericks to cue it up defensively. It's been a really interesting series. The Clippers offense actually looks better with no Leonard, just because they're not doing ISO. When they do ISO, that kind of plays into what the Mavericks like to do defensively. In games 1 and games 2, everything was pick and roll, and that led to more open 3-point looks. And obviously with their shots, they shot like 70 65% from three in that first half, but they're getting open looks based on that 3-pointer. So I expect there to be some sort of adjustment that ties into another player, one of the player props I have. I expect we're going to see more lively minutes. I played his over 12.5 points and rebounds, cleared it all 3 games. Gafford, because of the pick and roll, is absolutely unplayable in the series. I think we're going to see his minutes continue to decrease. Lively can switch. He can't. He's way more athletic, and he can defend the rim. He just gives you more defensive options off this pick and roll. So I'm going to play Lively over the 12.5 points and rebounds. As I said, I played the under 106.5 points. I also played Paul George under 24.5 points. Again, buying low, selling high. George is coming off his 6th best playoff game ever. Last time he went over this total in a playoff game was June 28th in 2001. He's guarding Luka. I expect Luka, after coming off a down game, looking to attack more. This could lead to George getting into foul trouble. Also, him being tired because of the effort he has to put defensively. Due for some shot regression, coming off a 7-4-10 from three-point land. He's a 38% three-point shooter for his career. Like I was mentioning, when I look at the games the Clippers have won, more pick and roll, get Zubac involved early. Game 2 and 3, that wasn't it. I expect Kidd to take away the pick and roll, and that is going to force some struggles for the Rockets, for the Clippers. And it's kind of weird. Like when you look at the Clippers, Harden does his best work off of pick and roll. George does his best work off of the pick and roll. Kawhi does his best work in ISO. So if Kawhi comes back, they're obviously going to go to the ISO.
And even Russ, who, when he gets in there, he's been good. He had a good chemistry with Zubac and pick and roll. Like they're better. It's so weird. Because when you have these kinds of conversations, they obviously don't have a higher ceiling without Kawhi, right? Like they're not a better overall team. Do they make a little more sense? Just like right now for the, right.
In this
especially if he's
matchup
not 100%.
Right here, what I think is going to happen, or how in my head I want to play out, is I want the Clippers to win this game. Kawhi goes, oh shit, they're going to win without me. I'm coming back. And then we're going to take the Mavericks to win the series. That in my head, that's kind of what I'm hoping happens. And also with George had his best part of his career when he was in OKC with Westbrook. And that was okay. George gets it going early. Then Westbrook does the mid part. George finishes. And that's kind of what it's like with Harden now. George does early, then Harden starts doing some work. And then George usually does some stuff to finish the game. When Kawhi comes back, all that cohesiveness is just kind of gone. Is he a great player? Like you're saying, yes, but he doesn't work with the pieces that are there. I do expect some shooting regression from Paul George. I'm going to take his under 24.5. Expect it to be a slower pace game. So obviously I'm going to take the under because it goes into one of my angles, and then I'm going to take Lively because I think that's the big adjustment. I think we're going to see more Lively minutes because of Gafford's limitation on defense.
Anyone that's looking for some action today, check out parlayplay.io. It is a place where you can actually wager legally on props. As long as you parlay them together, you get boosts, you get bonuses, you get better payouts than if you were to just play them as a parlay somewhere else through parlayplay.io. And we have a promo code NFL Betting Blitz that will help give you a bonus and get you all set up. So for me, Erik, my plays were Bam and the over with the rebounds. I went Harden and his under with the points. I parlay those two up together. How are you going to put together a parlay today at Parlay Play?
Just basically I did the simple thing. I did Lively over the 12.5 points and rebounds. I did Paul George under the 24.5 points. And then I also did Bam Adebayo. But with Bam, what I did is I did his, where is it? Of course I can't find it. I did his points and assists over 23.5.
We will be back to talk more NBA anytime there's an NBA game. Tomorrow we have Bucks Pacers, Thursday, and Knicks 76ers. 2 more series with teams trying to continue their season and stay alive for one more day. Friday, Cavs, Magic, and then Saturday, the Wolves and the Nuggets will tip off, and we'll see what happens with these series, if they get extended or not. Good luck to you, Erik, and all your plays. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow on Fast Break Bets, talking some more NBA playoffs and our plays for Thursday. Best of luck, and we'll see you again real soon.